What's up, fight fans? This is JD of Bvtvnews, and I'm back to give y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. With that being said, man, let's talk a little bit about Canelo Alvarez and the sanctioning bodies. All right, now to speak on this topic, we have to bring up the sanctioning bodies being the WBC, WBO, IBF, as well as the WBA, right? So a lot of people are dissing Canelo Alvarez for him ducking David Benavidez, and rightfully so. He's a 33-year-old champion, and a lot of people would like to see, the fights that the fans truly want to see. Like, we don't want to see fighters take the easy route or go around fighters who we know have legitimately earned an opportunity to fight, as well as the Benavidez fight is a fight that would absolutely make massive money. So it's not as if the fans are, wanting Canelo Alvarez to face David Benavidez, and David Benavidez wouldn't be a fight that would shatter box office records. It's one of those fights that would really literally be the best of the both worlds. Because on one end, you got Canelo Alvarez, the face of boxing, facing David Benavidez. And on the other end, you have a massively lucrative fight that would do crazy, crazy numbers. Because how many times in boxing have we really seen where maybe what is probably the best fight in boxing, we know would not do the most numbers? So oftentimes with a lot of fighters looking at this as prize fighting, we may not get those fights at the particular time we want because the money may not be there for them to maximize that return. But in this case, I believe the David Benavidez versus Canelo Alvarez fight would be there. But we gotta point fingers at the sanctioning bodies. And the reason why I say we gotta point the fingers at the sanctioning bodies is because the sanctioning bodies are the ones who absolutely refuse to strip Canelo Alvarez. They are the ones who refuse to strip Canelo Alvarez. Now, if you ask, why would they not strip him? Well, people have to understand that with every bout that happens when these belts are on the line, there are sanctioning fees that each of these sanctioning bodies get from that bout. So essentially you have, the sanctioning bodies who are absolutely participating in Canelo Alvarez being able to pick and choose whoever he fights, regardless of if it's the fight that should be happening or what everybody wants to see. For example, the sanctioning bodies are going to be fully on board if on Cinco de Mayo weekend we get Canelo Alvarez versus Eddie Berlanga. Even if the sanctioning bodies know that Edgar Berlanga is not really ready for that fight or should be getting that fight, even if the world knows that that probably isn't the fight that's really wanted, the sanctioning bodies will be right there and they will make that a title fight for Canelo Alvarez. Which, that is why we also have to point the finger at the sanctioning bodies for operating the sport this way in a level where greed also defeats us as fans from getting the fights that we want. The reality is that if these sanctioning bodies were not so attached to Canelo and wanted to feed off of every bout that he gets due to him being the face of boxing, I can guarantee you by now, Canelo Alvarez would have been stripped. He absolutely would have been stripped of one or two of these titles by now if it was not about the almighty dollar. So while a lot of people heap a lot of criticism to Canelo Alvarez, which I believe is warranted, I do believe that as fans, we definitely have to heap a lot of criticism at these sanctioning bodies that continue to enable this type of behavior in Canelo Alvarez. And I get it, it becomes a very slippery slope because none of these sanctioning bodies want to lose out on money, with Canelo Alvarez bouts. But then what they also don't want to have happen either is they don't want to alienate Canelo Alvarez and have Canelo Alvarez say, screw these titles. So you don't have any of the sanctioning bodies that really want to be the first body to strip him because none of them really want to be the first to alienate him. And then at that point, you would have Canelo Alvarez probably give away all the belts. He'd probably vacate them all and then just begin to fight whoever he wants because he would still see himself as the face of boxing, and people will always tune in, to see Canelo Alvarez. They will always tune in to see him. So the reality is, man, is that in boxing, unfortunately, we have so many things at play that prevent us as fans from getting the fights that we want. And one of those things that really, really does prevent it a lot of times is the sanctioning bodies. So, fans out there, please remember that we also do have to point the finger at these sanctioning bodies. And it's not just the fighters. You got to remember that it is an all-encompassing network of people that tend to keep some of these big fights from happening because everybody is trying to negotiate how much money they can get in their pockets, man. But let me know what you think in the comment section, man, about these sanctioning bodies and how they continue to enable Canelo Alvarez and not strip him at all when he should be facing some of these top-tier opponents at 168, man. But nevertheless, man, this is JD of BVTV News. I'm going to keep giving y'all the latest and greatest news in the sport of boxing. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, man, deuces.